All right, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Good afternoon, colleagues, GCC students, and visiting members of the community. My name is Kevin Dimatulak, and I am a counselor for the Student Equity Department and the Cultural Diversity for GCC. Let me first off by officially greeting you all. Happy Black History Month. It's February. Happy Black History Month officially, and I'm pleased to see you all this afternoon for today's event as we celebrate Black History Month. For those that don't know, this year's theme is celebrating Blackness. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen really quickly just so folks that maybe are tuning in for the first time know what's going on campus. So this is the Cultural Diversity webpage, and you can find all relevant information regarding our programs and activities for this year. You'll also see that there is an accordion style feature on this website to kind of gain a more into-depth understanding of what we have going on this year and the event descriptions. A newly event has just been added. Let me share that onto the screen for Professional Development Week next week. And we are actually going to be having a guest speaker, Chris Molina. And his talk is going to be called Code Switching, Celebrating Blackness Through Awareness. It's going to be pretty fun, engaging, awesome. He's also going to be raffling out some stuff for the attendees. So please be sure to note this on your calendar. It's going to be next Wednesday, February 10th from 12:30 to 1:45. This is a reminder that the event will be recorded, so if you choose not to have any of your likeness reflected in the recording, please feel free to adjust your settings as necessary. There is a sign-in sheet that has been shared in the chat, so all attendees must sign in, including community members. We will also be raffling out 5 $10 e-gift cards to Bloom and Plume, or Plume and Bloom, which is a Black-owned business. It's a coffee shop in LA. So if any students that want to be eligible for winning in this raffle, please be sure to sign in. Again, the attendance sheet has been shared in the chat. If you have any questions, you can direct them to the person named Questions, which is actually Alexandra Evans, and also Hoover Zariani, who's the host of this Zoom meeting. So if you have any questions, feel free to direct them to them. If you can access the attendance sheet and things of that nature, you can go ahead and do that. But the chat will be left open for the community to send reactions, comments, ask questions, etc. So let me go ahead and begin by introducing our MCs for today's event. I'd like to present our MCs, David Crawford, who is our Student Services Technician at the Multicultural and Community Engagement Center. He's also the co-advisor for the Black Student Union, along with my colleague and very good friend, Alexandra Evans, who's also a student equity counselor. Then we also have Autumn Beckles, who is also a student at GCC. She's a student assistant at the Multicultural and Community Engagement Center. She's involved in the Black Student Union and also is a psychology major. So if you would indulge me by giving them a great virtual round of applause to welcome them. Okay, so take it away.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. Again, like Kevin said, my name is David Crawford and I'm glad to have you here today. The purpose of today is to have a conversation, a dialogue around the theme of the experience of the Cookout, which is a experience that is similar in a lot of ways, but different in a lot of ways within the Black community. It's going to be our lens, our viewpoint into celebrating Blackness for today's discussion. And before we get started, I just want to give Autumn an opportunity if she wants to share anything briefly before we get started with the questions today. So thank you again.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you to those who don't identify as a part of the Black community as well for joining us. I think it's important for all of us to find a way to come together to learn more about each other, and that way we can grow, understand, express empathy, etc. So I'm really grateful to have you all here today, and we're excited. This is going to be a really fun, light program, so I hope you guys enjoy it.
Thank you, Autumn. The first question, I'm going to address the first question, and the first question will go to Nicole. So Nicole, What is your name? Well, we know your name already. Your major, your career goals, and your favorite dish or beverage when it comes to the cookout.
Well, I'm Nicole Garrett. I'm a psychology major. My goal is to go further in psychology, whether that's forensic psychology or, court-appointed psychologists within the family courts. My favorite dish at the cookout would be baked macaroni and cheese and beef ribs. The favorite beverage is like a grape soda, a crisp cold grape soda.
Thank you. Mine's is red, but I love grape. Grape would be a second choice. Do you mind going picking someone else amongst the panelists?
Robert.
Hi, everyone. My name is Robert Peters. I'm a political science major, and my career goal is a civil rights attorney. And my favorite dish at the cookout would have to be jerk chicken, just because my whole family's Jamaican. So always cooking up some jerk chicken. And if you have taste, you probably agree with me. And I guess I will pick, who else is there? See anybody? George.
I don't think I'm a panelist, but thank you, Robert. I'm really happy to be here. Appreciate it.
Actually, let's go with Edwin.
How y'all doing today? How y'all doing? My name is Edwin Stewart. I'm a communications major with an emphasis in business. My favorite dish at the cookout, like the young lady said in the beginning, it's got to be the mac and cheese, man. You know what I'm saying? My mom took the mac and cheese. You know, I'm taking 4 plates of it just to go. You know what I'm saying? So with a nice cold spread on the side, that's always gonna be it for me. In order to, let me see, who else are panelists that I haven't called on yet? Shiri, are you a panelist?
I think it's cool that that Robert's favorite dish was jerk chicken, because I'm Caribbean too. So I think that my favorite dish at a cookout is probably like okra, like fried okra, or like plantains or fried chicken. And like the fried okra and fried chicken, like I'm so there. Favorite drink, probably Sprite or 7-Up. And like there is such a difference. Sorry about that. My major that I'm studying at Glendale Community College, I'm an econ major, and one of my major goals is to be able to bolster what like Black businesses are able to do, to be able to keep funds and funding within our communities, like to see like when we are spending money that it comes into our community, it goes around in our community, and to see Black businesses thrive, like that like excites me so much. And that's what I hope to get to do with the skills that I learn. And a panelist I see who hasn't gone yet, is Alexandra a panelist?
No, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Autumn, but I think that is all the panelists. I don't see anyone else, right? Yeah, so go ahead, Autumn, you can take the second question.
Okay. So the second question that we have for you guys is, what does it mean to be invited to a cookout? And what can get you uninvited? I know I'm not a panelist, but I will say, if you make the potato salad and you can't make the potato salad, you will get uninvited. That's what I do know. But I wanted to call on somebody else and see what you guys' opinions were. So we could start this one with Robert.
Thank you, Autumn. I think what it means to be invited to the cookout is just it's an invitation to our safe place, the ability to connect and just be at peace, share food, laughter, joy, play games, and just enjoy yourself. As far as what can get you uninvited to the cookout, I've never been in that situation, so I probably wouldn't be able to tell you. Would you like me to popcorn somebody? Let's go with Sherry. I hope I said that right. I think
Yes,
you.
you said that correctly. Thank you, Robert. Being at a cookout to me means like you feel this feeling of like sameness and like familiarity and warmth. You kind of feel like you're in your own separate world because like like as a kid being at cookouts, you know, like the adults are doing their thing and then like the kids have their own like world. So it's like this world of familiarity that comes together. And as to like what can get you uninvited to a cookout, probably like maybe like dissing the host's dish. Like maybe if you don't like one dish, it's a Black cookout. There are gonna be other bomb dishes. Find one, maybe don't diss the host's food.
Thank you for that. That's very much true. I would also add that trying out a dish you've never made before and bringing that as a gift, probably not a good idea. Don't do that. Don't make us the test subjects. Let's go ahead and go with Edwin.
Hey, how you guys doing? So what it means to be invited to a cookout for me, I mean, it's everything, because for me, not just everybody's getting invited to my cookout unless you're family, and sometimes even family's not getting invited to my cookout because I don't really like people like that in my house. So for me to get invited to a cookout, especially during this coronavirus time, I just got invited maybe about a few months ago to one of my best friend's sister's baby shower, and it meant the world to me because he was like, you know what, bro? I know everything is going on, but you family and you deserve to be here. And that meant a lot to me, you know, for them to, you know, open me up into their space. And especially from this time going forward, I feel like it's going to be a more sense of a respect of like, you know what, we're bringing people in. And I know it's not a lot of people kind of conversing with each other, but I want to invite you to my event, to my cookout, to intercourse with my, you know, to interact with my family and stuff. So that means a lot to me. It's something that can get you uninvited to a cookout. Of course, this is not going to be a first time thing, but if you do this for the second time situation, don't come to the cookout empty handed. I don't care if it's just some cookies, some soda, some chips. If you come to the cookout trying to get a plate and you're not trying to bring something to contribute to the plates, you're not getting invited to the cookout. That's bottom line, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, but it's true. Like everyone is. I think it's another thing with a cookout. It's a labor of love, right? And so like the love is in the food, the love is in the detail, the love is in the organization of it. So yeah, definitely don't come empty-handed.
Yeah, exactly. Like somebody said, I like to bring the ice. That is a key thing. We need the ice for the drinks. We need the ice for the drinks. Like every little thing counts, man. Everything counts. Because you always got somebody calling, hey, is John going to the store? Tell him to bring some ice back. We need it for the drinks, you know?
That's so true. That's so true.
I think we have... Oh, sorry. You just know first.
Okay. I think we have Nicole left.
I love what Autumn and Edwin said. That's so funny, but that is very true. You bring, you know, watered down or uncooked potato salad. That's definitely something that goes down in discussion afterwards. But for myself, what it means to be invited to a cookout means unity. It means a safe place of love where we will congregate. We will eat the kind of foods that we like, that we were raised on, that we're familiar with. Where everybody that we know, you know, will congregate over this precious meal that was cooked either for, you know, however long it was cooked, but we know that a lot of love went into preparing the cookout. So what it really kind of just means is uniting in a safe place with your loved ones, people that you connect with, that you vibe with, that you would share your meal with at dinner time or whatever, usually loved ones. You know, that's a loving time to, you know, share dinner, to converse, have conversations, catch up on the day. So really the cookout kind of offers an extension of that. What can get you uninvited to a cookout? I would kind of say, taking multiple plates before someone got their first plate. You see individuals sometimes at the cookout piling up the plates, getting food to go home with before, the line has been actually served to all the members or everybody who's in attendance. So I would say that taking too many plates at once will definitely get you uninvited to the cookout.
You want to know something funny that you say that, because in all honesty, right? So I hang around a lot of Hispanics, especially when I was in my fraternity, and they invite me to the cookouts and stuff like that. And afterwards, I'm bringing home plates. that's what I do. I'm bringing home plates, but they looking at me weird, like, bro, you bringing home plates? What you mean, bro? What you mean? Like, you not bringing home a plate? Like, what? You gonna be hungry later? Like, you gonna just let them throw away the food? Like.
Oh man, I love that question when we were thinking of it. The next question, I'm going to address it first to Robert. What are some of the norms one must be aware of when coming to a cookout?
Thank you for that question. I think for me, one of the norms is that your family is going to sign you up for the talent show, whether you agree to it or not. I remember a couple years ago, I was asked to do, a rap that I really haven't prepared for or anything. So just be prepared to do something that you've been asked to that you don't agree to. Yeah, and just get off of technology and to connect with other people. Just enjoy the space and the time that you have there.
Yeah, I think that's a great great response, because I think so often we're consumed by electronics, right? And so I think it's a time to also unplug and to get to know people maybe that you haven't met before, but also build up relationships, friendships, but also just to have time with your family. And so I'll definitely agree with that, Robert. I've been voluntold, I will say, to do things that I didn't necessarily think I was equipped to do. So thank you for that. Siri, you mind answering that same question?
Yeah, so I think that like a commonplace thing to expect like aunts, uncles, people who like see your parent and maybe relate closely to come in and, know that their perspective is really going to count in that moment. And like, it's not really about respecting your elders or not respecting your elders. It's about like the connection of someone's like offering some like constructive criticism kind of thing, or giving you a little bit of tough love. And it's like Black people, like they're like offering you their wisdom and strength in that, and knowing sometimes like it's not to single you out. It's like it literally is to impart like this strength that when we're together. And I always think that that was really interesting, just getting to see another perspective from a different part of the family.
Yeah, thank you. Nicole, would you mind sharing your perspective on this question?
Yes, I would say some of the norms at the cookout, kind of what Cherie was saying, was you may see a lot of people that you've never seen. You don't know really who they are. And then upon discussion, you realize this is like a great aunt, or this is like a long distant cousin. So you might think that, oh, I know everybody at the cookout, but really people start bringing other family members, to make sure that they're involved in the cookout. So maybe you might tell, your grandma, like, come to the cookout. Her duty will become then, let me get, all the cousins to know about the cookout. And then eventually a lot of other faces that maybe you haven't seen in a long time, maybe you don't know, will eventually be at the cookout. So I think that's a norm.
Yeah, I think one of the things, at least in my family, I can speak for my family, is I have cousins that I never met in my life. And then even if like, they're not blood cousins, there's a thing called play cousins, right? And so like you adopted them into your family. So I think that's a norm too, as well, as that just know that there's two types of cousins. There's the cousin that that you grew up with, that is a blood relative, and then there's a family friend association that's deep and is rooted just as much as any blood you might have pumping through your blood.
And you know, to chime in this, I know I'm all coming in all late. My apologies. My phone was tripping on me. But I was just having a conversation with my lady about that yesterday, honestly. And I asked her, I said, do you feel that if you're blood, that makes it like does that make you family if you're like blood? Or like, say for instance, if you don't, like if the person that you really care for or that you really love, like even if they're not blood, does that still make you family? And she was like, yeah, because she got uncles and stuff that they're not her blood uncles, but she doesn't see them no other way, even though like, oh, this has just been my friend, my dad's friend for years or whatever the case may be. She doesn't see him in no other type of way. Like, that's my uncle, at the end of the day. And I was just thinking to myself, like, in all honesty, because we was talking about like distance, family that's in the distance. And I was like, say for instance, you haven't had, interaction with them and stuff like that. You don't know them. Just because they're blood, does that still make it family? You know what I'm saying? That was just a conversation that we had. And to tie it all in with the cookout and stuff like that, it really goes to show you, like what I was saying earlier, just getting invited to the cookout, how much family you are to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because you could just be thinking, oh, well, I'm just a longtime friend. But in all honesty, you've been in every one of my family events, even more than actual blood's been. You know what I'm saying? So,
Totally. And I would like to actually pass the third question on to you. What are some of the norms?
As far as the norms, as like, what do you mean by that?
Well, I'm popcorning you now for the question 3. What are some of the norms one must be aware of when coming to the cookout?
Okay. Well, one of the norms is that, especially with the Black community, is, say for instance, if you're not really used to this, it's gonna be smoking at the cookout. Somebody gonna be in the cut, and it's gonna be normal. That's the norm in the Black community, in all honesty. Somebody gonna be drinking. You're gonna have the uncle talking in everybody's face. You need to know this. This is a norm. You need to understand that this is gonna happen. So if you come into the cookout, you need to say hello to everybody in the house. I don't even care if you know them or not. If that's auntie and I say that's auntie and that's not even auntie, you need to say hi to auntie. Don't be rude and pass her up, because now everybody looking at you like, did you see a person that Edwin brought in the house? Didn't even want to say hi to me. But came to the cookout, didn't even want to say hi to me. Y'all already know how I go down. Y'all already know.
I like love how that connects to how family, like even if it's not blood family, that might be your blood, like basically your blood family. I have aunts to this day where I'm not like, is that my mom's sister? Like, that's my aunt? I don't know. That's how love works, and that's a norm. Like you said, if someone said that's auntie, that's auntie.
And you better let them give you a kiss too.
Because I got an aunt, right? And she's one of my mom's best friends. She's been knowing her before I was even born, worked together and everything like that. And she's Hispanic. You think I'm calling her anything else, bro? Like, she don't even look like me. That's family though. Like, you think, oh yeah, that's my aunt. I'll tell that to somebody, oh, yeah, that's my aunt. That's your aunt right there? Her right there? Yeah, bro, what you mean? You already know what I'm talking about.
That's so true. You definitely have to make an effort to speak to every single person if you want to be invited back. I also like what Sydney said in the chat. Her favorite question is people asking, whose child are you? That's very common, considering there are so many different people at the cookout. Maybe we know each other, but I ain't seen you since you were a baby. Whose child are you? So that's really true. That's a good question as well. I wanted to move on to number 4, which is, what are some familiar sights, smells, and feelings that become reminiscent when thinking of a cookout? And what larger themes can you draw from it, from those feelings? So I guess, again, we can start with Robert, if you'd like to go.
Sure. I think one of the things that I reminiscent of a cookout for me is just that your family just wants to be all up in your business. They want to know who you dating, what you want to do later on in life, and they want you to tell them right now. Literally, like right now. Like every single time I'm at my grandmother's house, she wants to know who's my girlfriend, if I'm going to be a lawyer, doctor, whatever. Every single time, it never fails. But you know, it's one of the joys of being around family.
Siri, would you mind also answering that question?
Yeah, I think that some familiar sights and smells, well, a familiar sight is arriving and kind of seeing a place look different. And then like as the day or night goes on, you're like, is this even the same place? I didn't know this place could hold this much food. I didn't know this place could hold so many people. Did we even know that was gonna go there? And so kind of this feeling of transformation. And I think that's a larger theme, and just the way that like families transform, and the cookout is there so that we're able to see each other's transformation, and that transformation brings us together instead of separating us. So I think that's a familiar sight. And the smells, just like the smell of like the smoky grilling barbecue, like that smokiness just like makes me so hungry, so hungry.
Yeah, yeah, yes to all those things. I just think about, it makes me think about like when you have a cookout and it says like the start time and it's like no end time, you already know it's gonna be good. Like it's gonna end whenever then. So yeah, those are some things that kind of stick out to me.
Popcorn it to Nicole.
Go ahead.
Oh, can I popcorn it to Nicole? Cool.
Thank you. For me, I get emotional at the arrival of the cookout. I think mainly for me, what makes it emotional for me is that I have a large family that I have not seen. It takes time, months, years, 2, 3 years before I see them again. And seeing them and see how much progress, from the last time we seen each other, catching up, going back and forth on our plans, our goals. And it just kind of makes me emotional from the sense of, wow, everybody is beating the pavement. Everybody's is fighting to get to where they want to be, where they want to go. And that just kind of hits home when I think of the African American, families and cookouts, that, to see your family make it to the cookout, or to see them actually participate, or to travel in, or whatever. Like I said, it stirs a lot of positive emotions, healthy emotions. And really just the larger things I can get from it is really, nobody has a care. People have let their guards down. People are their true characters. They're taking off from work, whatever, they got the day off. And really, it just becomes a zone of relaxation, of true character, of natural behavior. You see people doing things, like Edwin said, smoking or drinking. Maybe they may not possibly do that all the time, but that may bring that behavior out from the cookout. And I'll popcorn that onto
People talking at a cookout,
Robert or Edwin.
Or just older people talking at a cookout who, when you've seen them before, they were quiet. And like, if you're younger, 12, 13, 14, you're like, I thought that person was so old that they just didn't speak. No, that person was a story. And at the cookout, that's when those natural things come out. I agree.
Right. Totally.
Some things for me that makes me reminiscent smells and certain visuals and stuff is like, for me, I live in Palmdale, California, and all my family is in like LA, Long Beach, you know what I'm saying? So I got to travel anywhere that I go. And just that, after that long trip and just coming out the car, seeing my folks, they're outside, they chopping it up, you got unks on the table, they playing dominoes, you know what I'm saying? Somebody in the club playing cards, cousins in the back playing video games. You walk in the house, auntie in the cook got the baked beans on smack, the mac and cheese smelling good, you know what I'm saying? Just like those memories, those times, those moments right there are everything, especially now that we're all grown up. It's not all the same. There's no babies no more. So the sense of having the cookout becomes less and less, when there's no babies in the house, when there's really not no moment of, okay, let's get together this year for Easter for the kids. It's like, well, everybody's working. There ain't no kids, you know? So every time that I think about it, I kind of reminisce back to my younger days, to my younger years, just being able to hang out with my cousins, going up to the park, even though my mama told me not to go up the street, I'm still up the street, you know what I'm saying? Just like all those things at the cookout. It's just, that's the time where you just really able to just interact with your family. Because I don't know, for a lot of folks, I don't know if a lot of people can agree on this, but a lot of times when people interact and come together, it's because of a cookout or a funeral. It's always really kind of really in between. It's either, you know, for Christmas and other events like that, that's with your immediate family. But whenever like there's Easter or there's a New Year's or something like that, that's when the cookout always is. And for me, it just brings back all the good memories that I have, because for me being a Black African-American male, I either know the cookout or the funeral cookout type situation, you know, so.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that, Edwin, because when I think of like funerals as well as cookouts, like there's especially, not always, but a lot of times in the Black community, they have like this afterwards, there's the wake and there's the meal and the people bring food. So it's this idea, it's this communal experience. So you know, in terms of that segue, there's very much a communal aspect, even in death, you know, celebrating life and after, when it comes to like celebrating Blackness in those gatherings. One thing that you hit on too that really sticks out to me is like you talked about dominoes and you talked about cards, which more than likely spades is that like, don't sit down at the table if you don't know how to play.
Don't sit down if you don't know how to play.
Know how to play. Yeah, so people will be mad at you, and you might not get invited if you mess up their record on that on dominoes or spades.
Somebody get him out. He don't know how to play spades. Somebody can get him. Somebody can get him. Who invited him to the table? Man, messing up my damn shit.
I think this is a good place to move on to the next question. Question number 5. What are some of the lessons that you can draw from participating in a cookout that you can apply to life? And I'm going to go ahead and give this to Siri.
I think that like it was really like interesting what I'm sorry, wow. The last person who was speaking just said about like how like you're brought together by the children in the family, and that like relates to like it's like what you do in order to like pass down traditions, I think, or it's like you like have this respect for like the adults who are putting on this cookout, and you're kind of aware of this bigger process happening around you, and then like as you get older, you're the one who's going to facilitate it. And like we were saying, like whether that's with blood family or with chosen family, like I think the bigger lesson is like the continuation and like passing on of a process, or not even passing on, like co-holding, like the co-creation of this space. And as you're growing up, you're this person who's also learning how to co-create that space. That's like for me the bigger lesson. Can I popcorn it on to Robert?
Thank you, Sherry. I think one of the lessons, or the many lessons I can say that I gained from being at a cookout is don't take any day for granted. You know, if you need to resolve an issue, if you need to speak with someone, don't put it off. Do it right then and there. And I think someone else also mentioned, I think it was Edwin, that mentioned he went to a cookout that wasn't necessarily his family. A lot of cookouts that happen in whatever community that you belong to, there's always, or there may be someone who's maybe not a part of your family. So don't be afraid to make connections, or, you know, introduce yourself to someone who you don't know. Because I remember a few years ago going to a cookout, I met 2 people, someone who works in government in DC, a pretty high position, and then meeting someone who's been doing real estate for decades, 2 areas that I'm really invested into. And I can popcorn Nicole.
I love what you said, Robert. I just think that was so amazing. For myself, what I can, draw from participating in Cookout that, can be applied to life is really, I wouldn't say from a religious standpoint, but staying connected to your vine. Whatever your vine is, that your family, where you come from, there's a lot of different chaotic things that go on in the world, a lot of, different things that go on between families. And I would just promote to stay connected to your family, stay connected to your roots, stay connected where you come from, know your history, know where your family comes from, where you come from, and really just staying united, even if it's not family, even if it's not your friends, value the connections that you make with people in whatever space that you may meet them, and just stay connected, stay involved, and stay united with individuals who think like you, who act like you, and just continue to grow, with these aspects that you can apply to life.
Yeah, thank you. Edwin, would you like to chime in on that as well?
Yeah, okay, so for me, I would say, because you guys all said great things. So one thing that I'm gonna add on to everything that you guys said was that the Cookout teaches you about respect as well. A lot of the things that we said about what can get you invited, what can get you uninvited, things about the space, table, and all that type of stuff, greeting people, it's all a sense of respect. Because when you're at the Cookout, you are going to, everybody is taking away their face, their normal everyday, 24/7 world space, their face, the greet the person like this, talk to the person like that. So at the end of the day, even growing up, don't keep running in and out of my house. You're going to either be inside or you're going to be outside. You're not going to keep doing all this. Don't do this, don't do that. And it's just a sense of respect of being able to go, and that correlates to somebody else's home. Now that I know, okay, in my community, in my family, in my household, if I'm going to go in somebody's home, I'm not going to greet everybody. So now that I'm in a Hispanic culture or any other culture, I'm not looked at as disrespectful, because I know that these are certain things that will be done in my culture, and that is a universal thing. And I feel like you can take that into your rest of your life, because at the end of the day, know that how you will want to be treated around your family, or you will want your family to be treated. You put that into everyday life, and you're forever treat the people the same way that you treat them if you was at the Cookout, being real, being respectful, being, generous, all those things. I feel like all those things correlating to your life.
Something that I found like super cool about what you just said. It's like you're learning respect, and you're coming into someone else's house. So you just said that you're learning what it looks like to respect other people in your community. And I remember, and it just popped up. Someone said what happens when you don't follow those community guidelines. And I think that the Cookout is this safe space where when you're learning respect, maybe a parent can get parenting advice, maybe not tough love, maybe tough love, but parenting advice from others. It's not a bad thing. I see your kid did this. Here's how we handle it, blah, blah, blah. And it's yeah, it's about learning respect in a place together.
Yeah. I mean, that's good, because the more and more we have in this conversation, there's so many layers to the Cookout. I keep thinking, right? There's so many layers to Cookout, and it's a lesson of life in so many different ways. And I think for me, as I get older, I cherish the Cookout, especially 2020, right? But I cherish the Cookouts because it teaches me the importance of family. It teaches me the importance of legacy. And there's so many stories, there's so many traditions, there's so many things. It's a rite of passage in a lot of ways. For me, it was like my dad teaching me how to barbecue. So you learn how, and my sister learned how to make the family recipe, how to fry fish, or so there's so many things that are taught, and it's great. It's almost a form of a family reunion that might that might occur more frequently than a family reunion, right?
Yeah,
in a lot of ways, it's a lot of life lessons to learn.
Absolutely. I wanted to add about the learning of respect, because it definitely was going to cookouts and helping to clean up afterwards, helping to wash afterwards, helping to put the chairs away, that I learned to do that at other people's homes. I don't go to other people's homes and eat at their homes and leave my dishes. I don't go to other people's homes and go in their refrigerators. That's like, those are no-nos. So I definitely did learn those things as well from cookouts. So I want to move on to the next question, which is, what do you love about being Black? I personally want to answer this one first before I move on. I definitely feel as though there's an interconnectedness of my ancestors and me. Not necessarily for myself feeling, spiritually, but more so realizing how hard they had to fight to be here, how hard they had to fight to exist. And so to me, that makes me feel as though I'm supposed to be here. And so I love that about being Black, is the fact that I probably could have not been here. There were so many obstacles put in place for my people that I could not exist, but yet here I am. And it makes me think about this Maya Angelou quote where she says, I appear as one, but I stand as 10,000. And those are the 10,000 backs that I was brought here on, the 10,000 backs that made a way for me. And so that's very important to me. Of course, the obvious, the skin, my hair, my things, but just the fight for me to be here is such a great privilege to me. I'm very grateful for that. With that being said, I want to pass it to Nicole.
Autumn, I'm so touched with what you said. I love that, because that's how I feel. That's what I love about being Black, is to look back at my ancestors and know how much favor they have blessed me and my family, my generation, to be able to be, like I said, a diverse sector, living in Southern California, going to school with all kind of cultures, races, and backgrounds. And I just love the fact that the pain that they went through and all the sacrifices that they made put me in the position to succeed. And even though it hurts me, what I love about it is I don't take excuses. I'm motivated every day to be the best person I can be. I love being educated. I love, being a Black woman in today's society and being diverse, knowing where I come from. And I love that, because that's what keeps me going to fulfill my dreams and my goals. There's no excuse not to get to where I want to be for my life and my family's life and so forth, because like I said, I feel like my ancestors laid out the way for me to be where I'm at today. And I have to just take advantage of all the blessings, that I've received. And that's just what I love about being Black, all the blessings that I have received.
And let's popcorn it to Edwin.
Oh, my mic was already unmuted. Okay, so one thing that I love about being Black, of course, my hair, my skin, all those things that are the obvious, but things that are not such of the obvious is the fact that me being Black forces me to get outside of my comfort zone, no matter where I'm at, no matter what I do. And some people may run and hide from things like that, but for me, I see it as a challenge to become a better me. And I feel that in this world, there's a lot of things that we cannot run from, we cannot hide from, or we will never be successful the way that we want to be as individuals. And that's for anybody, Black or white, Asian, whatever the case may be. But I feel with us having so much controversy in jobs or in just the world in general, that if we say, okay, I'm gonna let whatever somebody else says hold over me, it's going to stop me from doing the things or being the person that I truly want to be. And I see it as motivation, as far as something like going to GCC. Now, I live in Palmdale, California. I live nowhere near Glendale. But at the end of the day, I saw it as not, let me be afraid to go to Glendale Community College, but as an opportunity to know that there's not going to be too many people at Glendale Community College who are like me. And I see that as an opportunity because I don't just see my Blackness as a disadvantage. I see my Blackness as an opportunity because there's a lot of Black folks who don't put themselves in the position to succeed the way that I want to. And with me saying everything that I said, and with me, you know, facing everything that I face, me being Black only helps me be the better person that I want to see myself be without any excuses that I want to give myself.
Yes.
And that's one thing I love about being Black.
Edwin, yes, I love that. Yes.
Sherry, would you like to chime in on that? I know that's.
Yes, yeah, it really does. When Edwin, when you said like, no matter what I'm doing, I show up in a space and I am forced out of my comfort zone, and that like makes it so that you have to compete with yourself to be the best you. Yeah, stepping out of my comfort zone, that's not like a new thing. That's what happens every day, and it really like moved me to hear you like put that into words. The feeling that sometimes you don't know how to put into words. Something that I love about being Black is, while like sometimes it can be scary that people are going to assume that I'm going to be the most assertive person in a group if there are no other Black people around, or that like 2 Black people are going to dominate a space. Going to schools when I was younger that didn't have enough brown and Black people, or even when it had enough brown people, there weren't enough Black people. Even when I was outcast in situations, I always like tended towards science and STEM. And something that like I noticed is that like no matter how people treated me at the end of the day, like when there was a group project or when things needed to get done, like a group kind of gravitated towards me. And that wasn't something I thought about as a kid. And now today, being in STEM spaces and being so aware that I'm not supposed to be there, and no will be there, is like knowing that same power that like I didn't know I had when I was younger. Like, why is everybody here in this group trying to do the group project with me? I don't even know you. But you realize I'm here to change things and do important work. And then a lighter side, like aside from STEM and science, I love hair. I love how you can do anything with your hair and it's gonna be beautiful. And if someone who's not Black thinks it's not cute, they're racist. And if someone who's Black thinks it's not cute, then they're not your person. Go talk to your friends about your hair. And hair, that's something I love about being Black. I can do anything with my hair. I love it. Can I?
Cherie, I love what you said. Like I said, I'm touched with what you said because, you know, I had similar experiences, not with STEM, but growing up being the only, you know, so I relate to that feeling, and I'm just so glad you shared that. It was just so amazing.
I remember being in a math class with you and us being the only 2 Black people in that math class. We just continue to take up and add to those spaces.
And you know that it's in the moment we don't realize it. We, like you said, we feel like outcasts, but then as we began to get into it, we realize, wait, we do kind of fit into this sector. We do know this stuff. We, you know, and it's just cool to see how other cultures gravitate to us when we're feeling so, you know, like we don't belong. So I love that.
Robert, would you like to also chime in on that question?
Sure. I think what I like about being Black is just the resilience, the confidence, the strength of, as many of the other panelists said, of our ancestors. If you think about history, in 1921, this thriving Black community called the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, was destroyed by a white mob. A lot of people look at that community as the modern day Beverly Hills. So think about dental offices, doctor offices, schools, and things of that nature being burned completely to the ground, but being able to push past all that hatred and fear of not knowing where your next paycheck is going to come from. Then if I fast forward to the 60s and Dr. King's movement for the Poor People's Campaign, for sanitation workers, and being stabbed by a Black woman who you would think would be on your side, and being able to push past that up until his death. And then at that time, because of all the fight and his persistence, getting the then president at the time, Lyndon B. Johnson, to sign in the civil rights for a lot of Black people during that time period is just amazing to me.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to add here is that, oh, I'm sorry, someone else going?
Oh no, I was just like looking at Robert's face as he was like trying to like recount all the things that he can think of, and it's like the list wouldn't end. Like it's not exhaustive, that list, and that is amazing.
I agree. I just wanted to add, Aisha put in the chat. I want to read it. She said, Black folks can have radical empathy from our very existence. And I think that that's so important because I want to emphasize that the trauma is not it's not like fun. Like, oh, great, we have all these traumatic experiences, now we can build our character. It's very inhumane. However, there has to be a way to push through it. And I've always said that I've always felt as though in Black spaces, personally, we're very welcoming and very open to receiving other cultures and people and aren't, so judgmental. And I think you are forced empathy. And I think that through the traumatic experiences, I think that that's one of the rainbows that I do see, is that we're very empathetic towards others. And yeah, I just really appreciate that about us. But I'll pass it back to you, David.
Yeah, no, I want to chime on to that. And that's so true, is when you say that we're so empathetic to others, because we understand the pain that somebody else could be going through. But I feel like when somebody from another race tries to give empathy to us, it seems ungenuine. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, you tell somebody something, or you tell somebody this or that, and, they try to be completely genuine. They try to be completely like, oh man, I really feel for you, but you don't feel for me. You're just saying that because, this is going to make me feel better. But at the end of the day, you truly don't understand what I'm going through. But as far as Black folks, we truly understand, oh, if somebody's, segregating you, we understand how that feels. Or somebody, like, for example, when it came to the whole ISIS thing, yeah, we've been through that. Maybe it might have been 100 years ago, but we've been through that, them taking it away from our families and our homes and things like that. So when we hear a situation like that, we are quick to say Black and brown lives matter, because we have so much more empathy for the whole situation at hand. You know what I'm saying?
Man, Edwin, so many gems, so many words of wisdom that you're displaying there, and it makes me think about, like, for me, like, what do I enjoy about being Black? And I think for me, it's our rich, nuanced history. It's all the family gatherings, it's the cookout. But for me, I love that kind of familiarity. If I'm walking down the street and I see another Black person, it's that sense of like, we get it, we know it, and it's like, without being blood brothers or blood sisters, we kind of just get it. And that's why I think for me personally, whenever I see someone, I like do nod or whatever, acknowledge. If they don't do it back, I feel way about it. It's like, come on now, like, we have to like support each other, And so I love that. There's something magical about that, seeing somebody you've never met before, going to different, and I've done this in traveling different places, right? They're like, oh, you do that? I'm like, what's up? It's like, them instantly, right? And so that's one of my favorite things about being Black.
And that's so crazy that you say that, because it's such a respectful thing. Like, me walking down the street, and it makes me feel good inside. I don't know, like, I'm walking down the street, and it's just, I see a Black man or something, we make a quick little eye contact. It's just a sense of, I recognize you, Black man. I see you living. Yeah,
for me, it goes back to a Sabona, right? It means I see you, you matter to me, right? So like that's what it comes from me. Is like, I see you, you matter, your voice is heard, and I understand. So I think that's why it's so important to me. I think this is a great point to go ahead and go to the next question. How has your Blackness influenced your choice in career or major? And we'll start off with Edwin.
Man, that's honestly a great question. Me being Black, I've always been, me personally, I don't like to not be in the center of attention. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You know, I personally love to talk to everybody, interact with everybody. I know how to work a room. I know how to work a room. And I was always a minority in the majority. And I wasn't gonna stop who I was for nobody. I wasn't going to not talk to this person because this person don't want to talk to me. I'm going to still give you the benefit of the doubt and I'm going to say, what's up? If you don't want to interact with me, then I'm going to move on to the next person. But I had to learn that communication is so important. Communication is the key to me being successful in this world, because I can do so many different things. But if I don't know how to communicate with everybody else, then I'm not going to go nowhere, because at the end of the day, it's on me. My whole sense in this story is it's on me to go up to you, because you're not going to go up to me. You're not going to say anything to me. You've already have a sense of who I am in your head before you even have that conversation with me. And with me being a communications major, I learned things like intercultural communication and certain things like that to be able to interact with other people, because I know if I want that job, if I want that communication with that other person, or that relationship with that other person, it's on me. And I, you know, in the beginning, when I was doing everything and I was picking my major, I wanted to be a business major, because I felt like, of course, if I'm a business major, I would never be out. You know, people will always need me. That's a job that is universal. People are always going to need that. But at the end of the day, how am I going to handle my business if I can't communicate with the people that I need to handle my business with? I'm a Black man, and I have to understand that these are things I'm going to have to go through. And as me being 23 years old, I figured, well, am I going to see this problem as me being 5, 6, 8, 10, however the case may be? Am I going to see this problem and not acknowledge it? Or am I going to do whatever I can do to make sure that nobody stops me from doing what I need to do in my life? And that's why I chose to be a communications major.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
So powerful. So dropping facts today.
Yes.
Hey, Nicole, would you mind jumping in on that question as well?
Yes. My Blackness has influenced me, to be in psychology, but just not psychology, from a mental health standpoint, but actually putting in the physical work that we need to see African Americans more happy and more mentally stable. Throughout the African American race, there's a lot of issues throughout family courts, a lot of juvenile issues, a lot of adolescent issues that form in certain households of disparity. And basically, I just want, Black people to feel okay to express emotions, to express feelings, to talk about it. You're not crazy, you're not bitter, you're not hostile. These emotions that we feel and have experienced are real. And I think that, as trying to get into psychology, there's just not enough people who can relate to pain and trauma. And I feel as myself, through certain experiences I have, being, 28 years of age, and different things that I've seen and witnessed, that I can be a pivotal help to individuals who are struggling emotionally. And I just want to basically see, the African American race become more in tune with their feelings and their thoughts, instead of, trying to suppress or feel like, mental health or feelings or, help is frowned upon or looked down upon, versus, staying mentally healthy is what we need to go through a lot of the challenges that we deal with on daily events. It's not about being, like I said, crazy. It's about maintaining a safe mental space within yourself to be able to deal with all things that come your way, versus being broken down through life's events or occurrences. And I feel like I could be an individual who, the Black community could use and voice their feelings and their pain to.
Yeah, so many things that came out, right? But when you said, these are our feelings, we're not hostile. I mean, you got to take, when students share what's going on in their life, when they're open, when they're transparent, you got to, one, want to care, right? But two, you got to take it seriously. And you don't necessarily have to be the expert, right? But be there to be a listening ear and help be that facility and facilitate the conversation to someone else who's equipped for those conversations, right? But I definitely think that we need to have a conversation and normalize and destigmatize mental health, right? So it's super, super important to me, and I know from all my colleagues as well. Roberts, would you mind chiming in on this one as well?
Sure. I think the thing that influenced me or my desire to become a civil rights attorney is a lot of the experiences that I've had and a lot of the things that I learned about from researching different issues. Just for example, if you look at the medical field, the the mortality rate for Black women who are giving birth, is just overwhelmingly alarming just to see that for Black women, the ratio to deaths compared to white women. If you look at the criminal justice system, that it's over half of the criminal justice system is filled with Black bodies for nonviolent crimes. And there's so much work more than that to do. I can go to the UC system that in the 20th century or the 19th century, excuse me, there were more Black youth enrolling in the UC system than there are today. Why is that? Legislation. So to fix those issues, I'm gonna have to get in the game.
And Siri, do you mind also contributing to that question as well?
Yes, I feel all of the reasons that people have just said, like Edwin's like, if not me learning how to communicate now, then who's gonna approach me? I have to be the one, like I relate to all of those things. And then also being Black and seeing my father come from a different country and maybe his lighter skinned or white immigrant counterparts getting their citizenship really quickly. And everybody who's brown, who I've seen go through the citizenship process, it is frightening and confusing on purpose. And I felt like as a first generation American, I needed to understand the way that the economy worked, and I needed to understand the law so that when I see people struggling through that kind of like adversity where like laws are like stacked against them, like the like immigration system and those sort of things, that like I can understand what's happening and why they're struggling and how to like make those laws stacked against them stacked for them, because it's powerful and that can happen. So that's how my Blackness influenced my career choices.
Awesome. Thank you, Sherry. We wanted to end on this last question. If you guys could just take a moment to think about what are some words of advice or encouragement that you can leave with the audience, and maybe some words of encouragement that you rely on for yourself.
I can go in first. Something that I gotta always remind myself every day, and I hope that this is a reminder to you guys all, is that you're important. You are very important. You aren't just somebody else living in this world. This world is yours. A lot of people in this world are gonna try to tell you that you're less than what you think that you are, and you believe it, not because you know that it's true, but because you already tell yourself that every single day. Now, you can't let somebody else tell you something that is not true, and you can't let somebody else put things in your head to stop you from living the dreams that you want to live. If that's continuing going to school, even through this pandemic, continue to go to school. I know that it's hard. Everybody is going through something right now, and it's not easy, but you are important. You are important, and you can do it. You can do it if you put your mind to it. And if you look back 5 years from now, are you going to tell yourself, man, I know that I had these goals and these dreams, but I let my own self-doubt stop me from accomplishing the things that I want to do. Now I'm looking at myself in the future, wondering what can I've done in the past. You can't do nothing about what you can't do nothing about what you've done yesterday. But when you wake up in the morning, you tell yourself that you're important and you continue to live your life.
Yes,
That's beautiful, Edwin. Thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Yeah. Nicole, would you like to tackle that question as well?
Edwin, I love what you say. You on a roll today, brother. You on a roll. But what I wanted to kind of leave with the audience is more of, we hearing and seeing a lot of chaotic things on the news and in different platforms that, we may find ourselves, getting consumed in these emotions and these feelings. But I just want us all to know that it's okay to step away back from a lot of these things that we're hearing in the media in order to protect our feelings and the energies that we need for ourselves to continue to move forward. It's okay to turn off some of the negative commentary and stuff that we're hearing. Also, I would like to just say that, no matter how bad the hour is, great things are happening to us and through us at every moment and second of the day, whether we can see it or feel it. We have to stay focused on our goals and our plans and know that this is feeding our soul. Whatever challenge that we're going, it only makes us stronger, and that we could literally get through anything as long as we stay united and connected, connected to positive individuals, whether that's, these meeting spaces, these events, staying involved in GCC. Throughout the coronavirus, a lot of individuals have lost, meaning and purpose. But I just want to inform that there's a lot of purpose within GCC that we can keep on striving as we have been this far together. And it all takes teamwork. And no matter what, none of us are alone. And we can get through all the challenges, whether that's bills piling up, whether that's worry about your future, your education. Just step away from these fears for right now and trust yourself, trust the universe, trust your higher power, your God, that great things are happening to you and through you. And no matter what, we can get through every challenge set in our way. We will overcome.
Siri, would you like to also chime in?
Yes, I think that for other students, like any student, but like specifically Black students at GCC who might not be feeling like as connected as you could be as if you were on campus and could walk right into like the Black Scholars office and find people on campus, is that like something I heard this morning is that it's a relay race, it's not a marathon. Sometimes it's okay to slow down as long as you're not stopping. Aisha just said they turn off hashtags because they don't need that bad energy. And like, that's amazing. Yes, as Black people, it is not our job to absorb all of that energy so that we have to carry that at all times. We're very informed people, but not at all times that it's a relay race. So you can slow down and those things can slow you down because they're painful, but to keep going and to celebrate Black joy, because that is literally, that's almost like to systems of oppression, that's almost violence. To celebrate Black joy and the things we love about ourselves, self-care, slowing down sometimes, that's almost like violence against those systems. So to keep celebrating like what you are now, like right now.
Ooh, I love that what you said. That's like violence. Oh, say it one more time. Just say it one more time.
Taking care of ourselves and celebrating Black joy is like violence towards those systems of oppression.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I guess I can close this out with one thing that I think about constantly is that someone is depending on you. Your future is depending on you. Someone needs your leadership. Someone needs you to go to medical school. Someone needs you to write that book because someone needs your gift. And I think that's the best thing that I can say right now is just make it to your future because someone is depending on you. And one little thing I want to share that someone sent me that kind of relates to this is the most important thing on earth is to make it to your future. Don't let your past contaminate your thoughts.
Oh man, Aisha said like we need to get these shirts with these quotes. I agree. We need to make this happen. Get some shirts made. It's not a cookout without a t-shirt, right? So we need some. Get some shirts. Man, this has been so great. I think that at this time we want to give an opportunity for our attendees to, if they have any questions, to ask any questions. Is it correct that they have the ability to unmute themselves if they prefer to ask out loud? Is that correct? Yeah, so you have the ability to unmute yourself, but you can also address your questions to questions, or I believe Hoover said he will take them as well, and we'll ask your questions. Again, we're glad that you're here, and yeah, we want to hear from the audience. Go ahead, Sydney. I see your hands raised. So if you want to go first, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that this was great. You guys make me miss, my family reunions and cookouts so much. I think that I didn't truly appreciate them, or I took them for granted until now. I just realized. And so I just want to say thank you for this. And also everyone's insight. That was really beautiful, all the things that you were saying. And Edwin, you are hilarious. You are a gift. Thank you for everything that you said.
Laughter is good for the soul, and it's also part of the cookout. So you can't have a cookout
without. Yep. I just wanted to come and bring a smile on people's faces, man. I love seeing people. I'm in this house by myself all day. Like I said, I love interacting with people. So I'm glad I was able to give y'all a smile today.
Do we have any other questions?
Just want to make a comment.
Okay, go ahead, Hoover.
I have never seen Edwin not smiling. Every time I see him have this, he was in the summer bridge program. He was always smiling every time. I don't think I've ever seen him not smiling, which is great because then it makes you smile and feel good. So, thank you.
I just want to say one thing that keeps me smiling all the time. Is I wanted to say it earlier, but I didn't really know how to say it properly. But I'm gonna say it anyways. Is that there's a lot that goes on in this world, and being Black, you hold a lot of those things on your shoulders. It's just from the things that you see on social media, the things that you see in your community, you being afraid to be the next person that's something that's gonna happen to. One thing that I have to tell myself is that I am a part of my community, but I am not my community. I am Black, but me being Black does not determine who I am, and me understanding and loving who I am does not make me not understand and love the next person. And that's something that I have to tell, and I have to remind myself, is that I have to do what's best for me in order to make an impact for my community. I cannot worry about the next. I can't worry about what's going on over something that I personally can't control. The only thing that I can do is make sure that those stigmas that are a part of this Black community doesn't fall on me, and that I am a good representation of my community. That's all that I can do. So if you see me walking around with a smile on my face and you wondering why he's so happy, what he got to be happy about, it's because I'm living another day and I have an opportunity to be happy.
Yes, say that again. Say that again. Edwin,
today.
Before we go to Aisha, I just want to say this, Edwin. I think I've told you this before. If not, I'm gonna tell you again. I definitely think you have a knack for speaking, and I can see you being a speaker. So I'm going to speak that over your life right now. I think that you will be a speaker, and when you have that first speaking engagement, please invite me, and I want to be there for you. So
I will do. Thank you, David.
Yeah. Aisha.
First of all, thank you to all the panelists and everyone for their vulnerability and their words. This has been so awesome. I can't wait to come to Celebrating Blackness in like 10 years, and Edwin's going to be the main speaker, and we'll have everyone else on the alumni panel. I'm excited for that with our matching t-shirts. I'm ready. So we talked about the importance of Black joy and community here. So I want to know, what are folks, and we're starting a month literally yesterday. So I was like, what day is it? But so I want to know, what are y'all consuming right now that's giving you joy? Because we're gonna get a lot of crazy content. I saw Apple made some Black watches for us. There's speakers, but like, what are you consuming that is really giving you joy right now?
I'm thinking about that.
For myself, I would just say being educated. That just stay in school, in college during COVID, and to be able to excel, grasp the material, learn the material, participate, in courses and stuff. I'm celebrating that. I'm just so thankful. I'm so blessed. I'm so happy because during COVID, I wasn't sure if I would still grasp the material, if the learning environment was still going to be successful for myself. So I'm just celebrating that all the way through, and I'm just giving thanks every day.
For me, I'd say it's a lot of reading. Right now, I'm reading a lot of Maya Angelou, and it's really important for me to consume the words of those who came before me. There's so much wisdom. It's like, sitting at your grandmother's, feet and listening to her. And so just really tuning into the words of those who came before me, who were able to overcome the obstacles placed before them, because in the age that I have, with the privilege that I have, then I know that if they have that strength, I can use it within myself. So just a lot of reading and consuming, as we're talking about, Black joy, consuming a lot of things that feel good. I had to put down some of my books on Selma. I had to put down some of my books on civil rights, just because it's like, okay, it's true, but sometimes I want to feel a little bit more joy. And so allowing myself, like we're talking about, unplugging and putting down some of the things that maybe are too heavy, and allowing myself as a Black woman the freedom to feel good during Black History Month.
Yeah, I think for me, I picked up a book because I'm curious about the Great Migration. It was Black Metropolis, and it's a huge book, but it's like it talks about our history in terms of like Black social clubs and what it means to be in a Black social club. It talks about things like Black middle class, the bourgeoisie, like all that thing. And I'm a history buff, so I love history. And so I'm just really fascinated on the things like, how did Jack and Jill become a thing, and why was there a need for Black social clubs, and what did it mean to be a part of upper class, and what did it mean taking care of people who've coming from the South to the North, and all the things like the Phyllis Wheatley Club. And so like that is like my happy place, because I'm learning and I'm enriching myself, and it's in a lot of ways it could be a lost history. So I'm always curious about that. And then also being intentional with my time and making sure that I'm purposeful with that. So those are the two things I'm doing.
Hi, everybody. I'm Questions. Anybody who knows me right now knows that I am so excited and sweating over here and just tingling, because this has been fantastic, and the last 3 weeks have been amazing. And the type of environment that we're creating is wonderful, and seeing the same people coming and showing up to events and having students be able to tell their truths, beautiful, beautiful. And so I'm so excited about it. I wanted to share what I've been reading, and this is not any scholarly academic journal type reading, but it's really addressing what I need in my life right now. And it's called What If You Just Turned Your Magic All the Way the F On? Okay, what would happen if you turned your magic all the way on? You can't see it, but I found it on Instagram. It was an Instagram influencer who wrote a book about how to turn your magic all the way on. And I want to say what I love about being Black. I love everything about being Black. I have the privilege of never having to, I never felt like anyone was superior to me because they were white or any other race. I was just born that way. You know what I mean? I never was taught that. And so I've always loved being Black. I love our Black skin, our hair, our culture, our history, all those things that were mentioned before, but I love our right now. I love our present. I love our diversity. I love where we are going. I love that we can be together. We can express ourselves. We have a common language that is a part of our family. We're communal. We love each other. We protect each other. We work together as a collective. And I love all of that about us. And we have Black love, and the thing about when people hear Black love and like on Instagram and stuff, I'm going to delete my stuff too. But on Instagram, anytime anyone posts Black love, you have somebody come in and say, well, what about everybody? Or what about this person? But the difference between Black love and any other love that I've heard, like white love, tends to be like white power, which doesn't have a great connotation, But Black love is just that, being able to embrace who we are as a people and love everything about us, our style, our way, our history, our present, our future. We love everything about being Black. That's Black love. Black love doesn't take away from anybody. It's celebrating us. We don't have to take away from anybody to love ourselves. And when we love ourselves and we're able to be comfortable in ourselves, that's how we can be embracing other people, because it's real love. It's not love based on the backs of anybody else. Okay, I don't have to love Black people, but then I hate everybody else. That's not love. That's not love in any way, shape, or form. And so when we all get this place of love, Uranui, we know love, if we all get to the place where we can have genuine love, and that starts with love for yourself. You can't love people if you don't love yourself, honestly, truthfully, authentically. And if we can all keep on doing these things so that we can build the love in each of our communities, because we have a lot in common and we have a common enemy. Okay, we have a common enemy. That's oppression, you know, that's white supremacy. And probably everybody in that room, this room has that same enemy. So we have way more in common than we don't. So I love all of this, and I love Black people, and I love you all too. So I just had to throw that out there. You know I was going to be excited at the end of this and say something. So thank you for letting me have my moment. And thank you, panelists and everybody. This was amazing.
I wanted to add like something that I've been consuming lately. Like people are like, oh yeah, I'm logging out of social media. Yes, me too. I've been on Pinterest, like pinning body positive stuff. And something that I relate to with the turning your magic up all the way is like seeing like fashion icons like way back, like things that people would say, oh, that's ghetto. I'm like, all the style that I see like influence today comes from that. So like she had it where it was at, and like what her body looked like later on that was going to try to be emulated. And something that I'm consuming right now is Leon Mahavas, and she has a really beautiful voice, and that's calming, and tranquility is something that I've really needed. So a lot of like whatever I can find positively in social media and calming music.
Do we have any other reactions, thoughts, questions, words, all of the above? Well, go ahead.
I'm like super grateful that like PSU exists and Black scholars exist, and the way that we work in unison with the MCEC and, you know, the Pride Center and the Dream Center, because like what Alexandra was just saying, like everyone in the room has like a common enemy, and it's like us together. Like that's like totally on it. I'm so impressed and amazed by GCC for the progress like it makes by having these centers and by us celebrating each other. Like that's what it is.
I just want to thank the students, the panelists, all the people behind the scenes that were helping out putting this event, the Black History Month Task Force, the students who helped, who were going to meetings on Fridays in the midst of their fall schedules and their spring schedules. That's the Black Scholars, that's the BSU. We had represented from the History Club and all different student clubs and organizations that were a part of the process and the talk. You know, just this idea of expanding Black History Month through the month of February and starting it and kicking it off with the Mlk Breakfast, which is I think our 6th annual breakfast. I hope that this is a tradition. I hope that we can do the cookout every year. You know, I hope that, you know, we can do more of this. I hope this conversations are kind of spurned from these and born from these conversations we're having. But yeah, I'm eternally grateful for our students for giving up their time and sharing their experience and speaking their truth. And like I said earlier, I firmly believe that you matter and we see you. And I think the fact that we had, I think I looked at the highest, it was like 60 people in here. And there's a lot of people that I'm seeing coming back over and over and from the English department. Kendrick, I mean, I think you're going to get the award for like for a perfect attendance, man. And so I just want to thank everyone for attending, for coming, for showing our students some love and some support, and letting them know that they matter and that they're seen. And so I just want to give an opportunity to Autumn if she has anything to say. But my heart is full right now. My heart is full.
I just want to say thank you guys for allowing me and David to co-host this event. Beautiful and important, and I'm very appreciative to GCC and to the MCUC for constantly allowing Black voices to be heard. I know we're few on campus, but we're mighty, so I'm very grateful that we don't get overlooked. And I'm just very excited to see what the rest of this month looks like, and I hope that we can continue this celebration past February. But I'm very grateful for the work we can do this month as well.
So before we go, I want to give Kevin an opportunity if he wants to plug any events that are coming down the pipeline for Black History Month. I know we have one on Thursday, so Kevin?
Yeah, I just want to make a quick reminder for folks. We do have our second panel event for our panels week in recognition of Black History Month. So the event next Thursday, this coming Thursday, is going to be at the same time, 12:30. It's going to be our second annual Black professional panel. So as some of you may know, we are trying to implement learning and professional pathways. So we actually have 4 Black professionals who are going to come in and represent 4 out of 7 of those professional pathways. So more information could be found in the Cultural Diversity webpage, which we can drop into the chat. But I just also want to take the time to say thank you. Thank you to all of our students. I mean, I am just so moved, I'm so touched. I feel honored to share this space with you, to interact with you on a frequent basis. And I'm just so looking forward to all the greatness that you're going to bring to this world. And also to our hosts, David and Autumn. Thank you so much for hosting this event. All of you did such a great job. And then lastly, to the audience, this event would not be a success if it wasn't for you all attending. So thank you so much. I love you all. I love my DCC family, and I will see you this coming Thursday. Thank you, everyone.
Sign in if you didn't sign in, especially students. There's raffles.